Well, a hearty hello and welcome back to the channel to you. And today, for Right or Wrong, we're going to take a look at another Decepticon, that being the duocon named Skytread. Though I think most of us know his real name is Flywheels, and he's a deluxe from Wave 1 of the new Transformers Siege line. And he's going to be our focus in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, and of course subscribe. Check out Machinery of Man, the Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors NL, and me everywhere. And this is Skytread, otherwise known as Flywheels, and I think he's pretty good. Now, this is the second duocon that we've gotten. The first came in the Powers of the Prime line. Power of the Primes line. There you go. And it was made up of two Legends class figures. Each of them had their own vehicle mode and their own robot mode, and they went together to give us Battle Trap. This time, we have a deluxe class figure. And there's only one robot mode, but we do have the traditional two alt modes that a duocon is supposed to have. The question remains, just how good is this guy? Is he better or worse or about the same as the other duocon that we had? And because he's part of the Siege line, he is a figure that's undergone a significant increase in cost. Is that warranted for this guy? In other words, is he guilty or innocent when it comes to a justified price increase? He's going to be compared a little bit differently. I'm not going to straight up compare him to a regular deluxe. I'm going to do the only thing that seems logical and compare him to the other duocon. So without any further ado, let's head over to the table and see how good this guy really is. And so we continue here with our second figure of the Wave 1 Deluxes for the Siege line. And it is Skytread, better known to some as Flywheels. The last time that we got a version of this guy, it was that sad, sad little Titan Master where we got the head and the little tank thing that was a redeco, I think, of Terry Bull, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe I said then that it'd be nice if we got an actual, you know, like deluxe class duocon figure. And it took a little bit of time, but we finally got it. Now, keep in mind as we go through here that the cost for these deluxes has gone up 33 1/3% in my neck of the woods. So besides for doing our regular scores, we're going to also answer whether or not this guy is innocent or guilty when it comes to a justified price increase. So far, the score is 1-0 for innocent, that being, of course, justified. So let's see how this guy stacks up. We're going to begin, as always, by taking a quick look at the packaging. Now, you may notice that my box seems a little dinged up. That's because I accidentally flattened it out and kind of crushed it up for recycling before I realized, oh, I hadn't done this review yet, so I had to kind of try and fix it back. To anybody who is a mint and box collector and in pain over me doing that, I am terribly sorry for you, but I don't keep the boxes. I never have. Nevertheless, if you are somebody who likes the boxes, this is a nice one, I guess. I mean, it's the box, and we have art here on the side, his two alt modes, which is kind of cool. Over here, the general art for the Siege line, and of course on the back we have his alt modes and the blast effects that work with them and all of that good stuff. All of these have little messages. Thanks to Dragonfly, friend of the channel. I know what these are because I don't have a black light myself. He found them out for me. The secret message on this one, spoiler about to come out, duocon. I don't know if that's, exciting to you or not, but that's his blacklight code, duocon. And I guess it makes sense since that's what he is. And we have rather lovely instructions that are purple and gray. They're big, they're folded nicely. You can see all the detail here. By the way, you can see here that his cannon thing does go together. It makes, you know, something that has a name, a blaster that has a name. As a matter of fact, while we no longer have the ever-popular collector card, it seems like we now have the ever-popular Accessory Stats. The top one here is for the combined mode of his two blasters. And it's pretty strong for the most part. The bottom one is for the separated mode. I guess it's a little bit weaker. A little bit. I'm not sure what all the symbols mean, but there you go. You can see the stats. If you know what the symbols mean, hey, more power to you. And here we have Skytread, or Flywheels, if you will, in all of his glory. What can I say? He looks really good. We'll give a score for his paint apps first and foremost. I'd like to say 10, but I can't. As nice as it is, there is an actual animation model for this guy from, I believe, the Headmasters series, I think? Headmasters Victory. One of the Japanese parts of the G1 continuity. I can't remember which series he and Road Trap appearing. But I have seen the animation, and this is largely accurate. It's a good 9.75. Really, the Decepticon symbols should be off to the side and kind of on a white square. And the sort of sides of his torso down here shouldn't be the like maroony purple color. It should be brown. You're not going to mistake who this is. There's no doubt about it. But in terms of accuracy to the animation, it's a little bit off. Oh, and the blue that's on the cockpit section, that should actually be red. Still, I haven't bothered to do any custom work on the guy because I like this, and I actually prefer the blue cockpit over the red. But to be fair, to be objective, when we compare it to the animation, it's a 9.75. Very strong, but not a perfect representation. And now we need to also talk about, before we do articulation and before we do his conversion, let's start talking about whether or not he is justified for his price increase. We have a box. Again, I've said it before, you could put it in a brown paper bag for all I care. I do not need the box. That is an added cost that I don't see any point of at all. So I'm never going to see a box as justified. That being said, the actual figure itself, typically a deluxe class figure, as of the Combiner Wars and Titans Return and Power of the Primes line, weighed roughly about 84, 85 grams. Before that, in early classics, it was not uncommon for a deluxe class figure to weigh somewhere in the vicinity of 92, 93 grams. So they were bigger. Obviously they have downsized somewhat, but such is life. A lot of people have said that these guys are denser, heavier, bigger. Are they? Remember, most recently we have an average of about, we'll say, 84, 85 grams for a deluxe class figure. And this guy weighs in at 82 grams. So he's about the same, if not a couple of grams smaller. These Siege Deluxes are not heavier. I don't know why people keep saying it. They're not. I mean, numbers don't lie, folks. But we're not actually going to compare this guy to regular Deluxes because he's a duocon. So it's only fair that we compare him to our other duocon. This guy, of course, was made up of two Legends class figures, and combined, his weight is actually 74 grams. So when we compare duocon to duocon, in that regard, Skytread does, in fact, have more plastic in him. He is, in fact, heavier than this. Combination of two Legends here, around these parts, meant that our cost was higher, because the Legends here retail for about $13. So combined they were about $26. Skytread is now $29. And he has more plastic. Maybe it's justified. That's actually a good start when we compare duocon to duocon. Unlike other deluxes in the Siege line, this guy is a little bit different because he doesn't really go compared fairly with other deluxes. He really needs to go compared to his other duocon partner. And I said that I love Road Trap. Or Battle Trap, sorry. I love Battle Trap. He was one of my top figures for 2018. I like him a little bit better than Skytread. Not that Skytread is bad at all. As a matter of fact, he's very good, as we're about to see. But I think I like the fact that Battletrap has two distinct, not only alt modes, but two distinct robot modes as well. And I feel like there's just a lot more to explore on him. Maybe because he has those individual robot modes, maybe. I think that it's interchangeable here. Some people are going to prefer Skytread over Battletrap. Some are going to prefer Battletrap over Skytread. I don't think that there's necessarily a clear winner as to which duocon is better. But I'll say this, who would have ever thought that in the modern day we would get two really deluxe class duocons? I never would have guessed it. I'm so happy to have both of these because the Decepticons always need kind of more in their ranks, because I feel like they always kind of get shortchanged. We always have more Autobots than we do Decepticons. The nicest thing I think here is that you can interchange the tops and bottoms of these guys so that they can look like... You can do this if you want, change their pants. I think it's astonishing that the head of Road Trap is the same sort of connection mechanism as the connector piece on the brown pants of Skytread. I love that we have this sort of backwards compatibility between not only waves, but lines. I mean, we have a Siege figure here interacting with a Power of the Primes figure. We know that the Headmasters, and I don't think I mentioned this when I looked at them, but they can interact with G1 figures. Like, Lionizer can be held by Action Master Rad, and Fire Driver, Firebolt if you will, can be held by G1 Hot Rod. I think that's astonishing that we have this sort of intergenerational play, so to speak. I guess the banner of generations really does hold true now. So let's just take a moment to reiterate where we are here now before we go into the articulation. 9.75 for the paint. In terms of his justification, I don't think the box does it, but for his weight, he is roughly about the same as recent deluxe size figures. An ounce sorry, a gram or so lighter actually, so he's no heavier. But when we compare duocon to duocon, he is heavier, and that's the way I'm going to do it. I'm not going to compare him to a regular, deluxe figure because he's a duocon. It's only fair to compare him to a duocon. So we're going to say he does, in fact, have more plastic. Now, what about the articulation for this guy? It's pretty great for the most part. We have a head that can go left and right. It can sort of wiggle up and down, but there's not a lot. The arms, they can go all the way around. We can have them go way out at the shoulders, which I think is fantastic. We do have a bicep swivel. We have a hinge. That's the thing I think that people are confusing with these guys being heavier, is that instead of ball joints, which admittedly tend to be prone to greater variances in QC, we have hinges and swivels, which we haven't had kind of as regular parts of construction in some time. When we would get it, we would be impressed by it. All of these guys seem to have, at least so far. So we're going to be impressed by it, and I think the feel of those things being smoother is what some people are confusing with extra weight. So the arms, like I said, elbows over 90 degrees. We don't have, I don't think, anything at the wrist here. No, nothing at the wrist. We have a waist. Now it's sort of hindered by the tail of the jet mode there, but we do have it. Legs can go well forward. They can go all the way back. He can do splits for days. We have a thigh swivel. We have a knee to 90 degrees. We have ankle tilt. That's the one that a lot of people are really happy to see, is ankle tilt, and so am I. We can also take the blaster here, and it can go in his hand. This one can of course go in the other hand, or you can, which way is it that this is supposed to be done? You can, there, connect the two of them. You take the shorter one and it plugs into a port on the back of the longer one, and then he can he hold it in both hands? He can hold it in both hands, and that's pretty cool, I think. So articulation, honestly, it does pretty much everything you would want it to do. I'm gonna say It'd be nice if he had wrists. That's about it. 10. The articulation for the size class and for the price, I think, is top notch. Absolutely top notch. And of course, because of the line wide gimmick, you can make him look like this with a bunch of Micromasters all over his body. And the blast effects, I think on his actual body, the blast effects can only go on his upper shoulders. They can go on both of the, I guess, muzzles of the two blasters, though I only have one used there. Micromasters all over his body here. I believe there's 10 or 12 ports if we include his hands. So he can look ridiculous like this. I also said that we were going to see cog throughout our look at these figures. So in a second I will show him kind of armed up with cog as well. But there's some versatility to the play here. There's no doubt about it. This is pretty sweet. And here's an example of what you can do with cog on him. I presume Brunt will be able to do the same thing when we finally get him, or a similar sort of thing. I assume that Six Gun can do a similar sort of thing. I think this is amazing. I mean, we have all of cog on him here. We have a deluxe wearing a deluxe. That's fantastic. I also think that there's more ports on this guy than I initially thought, because I believe there's about 14. He has shoes. The ports on his legs are a bit loose, at least in terms of having the blasters from cog on there and his own blasters. I don't know, maybe something fits in there better. He has a shield now on his arm, around the back. You can see that he has like a backpack with now shoulder-mounted blasters. Like, that's astonishing. Astonishing. The play value is amazing here. There's no doubt in my mind. So what about his transformation? Because that's the one measurement that we don't have so far, but he's doing really well because overall right now he is getting a solid 9.75, almost a perfect figure. So transforming this guy means doing a couple of things first. We're going to remove the large blaster over there because that's really going to be used for the tank part, which is his lower body, so we're going to remove his lower body. And so now we're going to begin with his upper body, and we're going to start by taking the little blaster out of the wing just to make it easier on ourselves. We're going to fold in the hands and fold in the hands. The head and cockpit come all the way back, so as you pick up the cockpit section, it will push the head all the way back, and then we can get these up out of the way for now. We will open up the sides here. They tab in quite strongly actually. So we open up that one and open up that one. We bring the connector piece all the way down into the tail fin, I guess, basically. And you will notice that what we have is a little rectangular tab and a little rectangular tab. If we straighten out the arm and we turn it, you'll see that you have a rectangular slot there. So your aim is to fold the shoulders in and have that slot line up with the tab, and it should tab on over. So you bring that in, and you bring that in, and you need to line up that tab, and they should go on over like that, and then you can straighten down the wings, and boom, here you have the jet mode. And you have two choices here really. You can put the blaster, well, four actually. You can put the blaster right there, you can put it under either wing, or you can place it up under the nose. I think this looks pretty cool myself. So that's the top half done. What about his pants? And alas, unfortunately, his pants is where things fall apart just a little bit. It doesn't transform perfectly well. There's a tolerance issue here. I will even explain how I've tried to deal with it so that you can save yourself some time and hassle and see if it actually works. Even though I have read on many a board in the fan community that this is what you're supposed to do to fix it, it does not work. It does not work. I can guarantee you it does not work. All you will end up doing is possibly cutting your finger as you try and shave down certain parts of plastic, and it does not work. So, case in point, we begin to transform this guy. By the way, I didn't mention it. He has a little bit of battle damage kind of on his feet, not very much. And it's kind of like with Cog, like it's a little tiny bit there, but you'll forget about it if you're not paying attention. I do love his like gold treads though. I think that's tremendous. So we open up the legs first. If I can get them open. How is it that I do this? Ah, there we go. You gotta open it right from the inside. So you open up the legs first, you straighten out his feet. Then this whole section folds in. Now, when you put the legs together and you fold this section, you have two little notches way up. See if I can show this here. Two little notches way up here in the connector piece. And they go over two rectangular slots right there. Now, what everybody has said is the reason that the top of this doesn't go together quite well is because this section is pushed up a little bit from these two pegs, because these two pegs are a little bit too high. I have them shaved down almost to the point where they're non-existent, and it has zero effect on this piece. Zero. Absolutely no effect. It does not keep it down anymore or push it up anymore. This piece just does not like to stay down. That was step one of what I tried to do to remedy the issue. But you bring that down and you push it down as best as you can. It should ideally stay all the way down. Once you have that done, you fold in these pieces. There's a little tab here and here. It goes into slots here and here. Again, they don't like to go in there very easily either. This side a little bit better. I have actually tried to shave down and thin out the tab on the other side. It does not help. It does not keep it in anymore. It still likes to push out. There's even a little ridge on the inside of the leg pieces. I have tried to shave that down a little bit. It does not help things. So I have shaved down 3 different areas on this guy to try and help the solidity of the tank, and none of it, absolutely none of it, has helped one little bit. It is not the most pretty of tank modes. That side, see, this side now will stay in. This side over here, no. I can push on it all I like, and like I have it in there kind of now, but it's gonna pop pretty easily. We have a peg right here. That's where the handle of the larger cannon goes in. However, the handle on the larger cannon, I do believe, is a little bit too short. And when you put it in there, it sort of kind of almost wants to face down a little bit. I don't really like the tank mode that much. There's too many issues with tolerances on it. Nevertheless, here are the 2 vehicle modes for this duocon. They cannot attach together, unfortunately, but like I still think it's kind of cool. The reason that I like Battle Trap over this guy is because Battle Trap has 2 functional vehicle modes. Granted, Road Trap's Jeep truck thing has a pretty unsightly back end, but at least it stays together. It taps together just fine. The tank here does not. The transformation, in theory, is great. The top half is great. The top half is, you know, like, honestly, the top half's a 10 for transformation. Everything is smooth and nice, but the bottom is about a 5, maybe a 6. It's a pain. And I've tried doing the fixes and they help absolutely nothing. So the overall transformation for this guy is going to be about an 8, and I'm being nice. Actually, it's about a 7.5. There are too many tolerance issues on the bottom. It's about a 7.5. He was getting a 9.75. This is, we'll say a 7.75. Overall, he is an 8.75. Solid figure, but definitely not the best in the line. Now, is he justified? Is he guilty or innocent? Well, he does have more plastic than the other duocon. He does have hinges and swivels. In robot mode, the playability factor is astounding. No doubt about it. He is a deluxe character that we needed a proper update for. He was somebody who was lacking from a lot of people's collections. The coloring is stupendous on him. Just barely. Just barely. I think we can say that this guy is innocent. So we have 2 now for innocent, none for guilty yet. I think that that's a pretty good rank and ratio so far. And here we are once again, and this is a good figure for the most part. He barely ekes by with getting a pass for the price increase, largely because in robot mode everything works tremendously well and is extremely solid. All of the tolerances are pretty much perfect in this mode. He looks tremendous. Excellent head sculpt, great paint applications. There's so much playability with the guy. The only weakness that he has are tolerance issues in the tank section. If this guy had already been updated sensibly, I don't mean the Titan Master, but I mean we'd already gotten an updated duocon for this guy before, then I don't think he would have passed, because I'd say, hey, the other update is fine. It's fine, we didn't need another one. Plus, this one has a couple of imperfections. But because this is a character that we've really been waiting on an update for a long time, and I don't think anybody really expected that we were going to get Flywheels updated, though I'm glad we did, I think that that helps justify it, because he's filling in a gap on the shelf for a lot of people in their collections. I mean, we have both duocons. I think that's fantastic and totally unexpected. Anyway, I like him. But he's not the strongest from Wave 1, for sure. I'd love to know if you've encountered the tolerance issues that I have had. I'd love to know if you have tried to make fixes that actually worked, because mine have not. As always, I love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for dropping by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. And I very much look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.